Welcome to Stories We Weren't Supposed to Tell. This is a survivor-led space where we speak honestly about abuse, healing, and what it really takes to rebuild your life. This podcast is not a substitute for therapy or medical advice. Please take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and take care of yourself while listening. Before we start this episode, I need to say this clearly. Story includes domestic violence situations, including strangulation. And that matters because strangulation is one of the biggest indicators that abuse can turn deadly. What you're about to hear is just not a toxic relationship. It's control, it's fear, it's survival. This is Maya's story, and this is what it sounds like when someone is trying to stay alive inside of a relationship that's slowly taking their breath away. Literally. This is Maya's story, and I get the opportunity to share it. Maya's story doesn't start in some quiet, controlled space where everything is easy to say. It starts the way real life actually looks. She's talking, trying to focus, and at the same time, her kids are in the background, moving, asking for attention, pushing bedtime boundaries, needing her in real time. She's redirecting them, negotiating with them, telling them to lay down, promising cuddles later, all while apologizing to me on the phone and trying to stay present in the conversation.
Wow.
So she's got a handful at her house.
Yes.
She has 2 boys that love their mom.
Boys are a handful on their own.
Yep, want their attention. And one of those boys does have autism. Those moments matter more than people realize because it shows exactly who she is before she even tells you anything about the relationship. She's a mother first. She's used to carrying multiple things at once. She doesn't get the luxury of pausing life to process what she's been through. She's living it, managing it, and still choosing to speak on it anyways. So Maya's a single mom of 2. She works in the healthcare field, and she's been working in healthcare for about 15 years. She's originally from Colorado. Her youngest child has autism, which means her day-to-day life already requires a level of patience, awareness, and emotional energy that most people don't fully understand unless they've lived it.
Right.
Mhm.
Autism gets a short end of the stick of understanding because the looks are deceiving. They look normal. Their brain just doesn't function quite as high.
And you have the different
Right.
spectrums, too,
Oh, I
of
guess I should have
autism.
thought about that.
Yeah. Before this relationship, Maya hadn't dated in a long time, over a decade. The last time she'd really gone on a date, she was in her early 20s, and now she was in her 30s trying to step back into something she hadn't experienced in years. And that gap matters, because when you haven't dated in a long time, especially after coming out of a relationship that was unhealthy, you're not stepping into something fresh. You're stepping in with history, with conditioning, with patterns that you may not even realize that are still shaping how you see things. So she decided to put herself back out there, right?
Hardest choice to make.
Right. So she goes on to Tinder.
Worst choice to make.
Worst
No, I'm just
choice, I know, huh?
kidding.
Yeah, no dating apps. No. They talked for a few days, nothing too long, just enough to feel like if there was something there or not. Around the same time, one of her friends invited her to this ecstatic dance, kind of free, sober environment where people move, connect, and just exist without the pressure of alcohol or expectations.
Oh,
Mhm.
that sounds like fun.
Right? So Maya decided to go, and she invited him along with a couple other people that she had been talking to. So she was talking to more than one. And she thought, hey, I'm just going to invite them all.
The group.
That way I can get a feel. There's no pressure. We're all, all friends there, da-da-da. She understood what Tinder was. There were options. People were talking to multiple people. She just hadn't locked him in yet. But he showed up first, and he stood out to her. It seems like such a small thing, but when you've dealt with inconsistency, when you've dealt with people who don't show up at all, something simply being there on time can feel like a green flag. It can feel like effort, like maybe this person is different. So the first night went well. There was nothing extreme, nothing that immediately set any alarms off, just enough connection to keep going. The first red flag didn't come in loud and obvious. It came in something that could easily be brushed off if you didn't look at it closely. At the end of the night, instead of asking her what she wanted, instead of leaving the decision open, he made a statement about her.
Ooh.
He told her, "You don't seem like the type of girl who would sleep with someone on the first date."
Which is he telling her that in that's a bad thing or that's a good thing?
Um,
Usually if you're voicing it, it doesn't seem like he's too happy about it.
I think he was planting a seed.
Ah. That makes sense.
On the surface, you could take that as respectful, maybe even flattering, but underneath it, what he was doing was defining her before she had a chance to define herself.
Mhm.
So he set the tone, placed her into a role, and left her to either agree with it or feel like she was stepping outside of what she had already decided she was.
Made her question herself immediately.
Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't even think, most people wouldn't even think that that was a red flag, but it
No,
really is.
that first question is always the most dangerous.
And the whole thing, too, is like, okay, yeah, somebody could say, hey, you don't look like the type that likes to drink, or you could say whatever, and you could turn it around. But what he was talking about was like giving her body up,
Yeah.
sex. It was something important, something that is sacred.
Yes.
You're going home and you're thinking, well, is he not going to talk to me because I'm not that type of person? Is he going to talk to me because I'm that type of person? So you're already going at war battle in your mind immediately.
Not to mention the internal battle of, am I this person?
Yeah, you
Because
know,
every girl has that question. Am
mhm.
I this
Am I
person?
that person? Exactly. So by the second date, the subtle shift had already started to take effect. Maya knew she was attracted to him. She dressed up. She made it clear that she was interested, and she was open to where the night might go. But the night didn't unfold the way she expected it to. Her best friend at the time was there, and instead of leaving, she stayed. So she wanted her friend to come to kind of be a buffer, right?
Of course.
The dynamic shifted, and what was supposed to be a one-on-one connection turned into something else entirely. Between him and her friend, the conversation started towards something Maya had not agreed to, a threesome.
On the first outing,
Yeah,
second outing.
second outing,
On the second outing, he's already bringing up
a threesome with her
with a
friend.
friend.
And her best friend is down. Her best friend wants to do it too.
I'm sorry, but don't you know that about your best friend before you get there? Like, I know if I brought it up to
Well,
you, it would be a no.
yeah, like, no. So it wasn't a vague hesitation, it was uncertainty. But it was a direct no. She said no multiple times. She even tried to set the boundary around safety, asking for let's all get an STD check first.
Yeah.
Neither one of them would conform to that. Neither one of them wanted to do that, right? She offered a way out. She said, "Hey, just drop me off and continue your night without me.
Yeah.
Like I'll go home. It's cool." But they kept building at her, tearing her down, trying to get her to say, "Okay." She was outnumbered, overwhelmed, and pushed past her limits. That moment set a tone for everything that followed because it showed her very early on that her no did not hold any weight with him, but still she stayed. Not because she didn't notice something was off, but because her understanding of what was off had already been shaped long before him.
Plus, super hard with the best friend pressuring too.
Well, she said, "I lost my best friend that night," because she cut that off.
As she should have.
Mhm. And I think she had to anyways because they had done this thing and she liked this guy,
Yeah.
and now that was gonna be part of their relationship if she didn't do
Yeah.
something on the outside about it, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But she was really sad. You could hear her voice break up like, "I lost my best friend that night."
I can't
But
imagine.
it's not your best friend.
No.
That's not a friend. If you've said, "No, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't wanna do it," and your best friend is still sitting there pushing you with this guy that she doesn't know and you don't know,
Yeah.
that's not a friend.
No. She lost who she thought was her best friend.
Yeah. She'll have a best friend come later.
Yeah. A better one.
Maya had been in an abusive marriage for 10 years. Before that, she grew up in an environment that was also abusive. So the way people spoke of her, the way they treated her, the way they diminished her, it wasn't new, it was familiar. Her ex-husband had already talked badly about her, even in front of others. He made her feel small, embarrassed, less than. And over time, she learned to accept that kind of treatment as normal. So when the new relationship started showing those familiar patterns, it didn't immediately register as something to run from. Instead, she explained it away. He would criticize her in ways that slowly chipped at her confidence. He told her she smelled bad, even after she just showered. He didn't like the way she dressed, especially when she wore black. And black was her favorite thing to wear. She likes to wear black.
Most women do.
He made comments that weren't constructive, weren't helpful, and they were made to question herself. And that's exactly what she did. She questioned herself. Now, she said a few times, bless her little heart, she's like, "I'm a bigger lady. I'm a big girl."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, and so My whole life, I've been made fun of for being big. She's like, there's parts of your body you can clean and they're still not going to smell well because you're a big lady. I get that.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
300 pounds at one point.
Yep.
Like, I get that. Um, and, like, even you have, the gaps of skin, you got to get up and get underneath. And
Yep.
you get, what is it? I can't think of the word, you know it. But, like, when you have the moisture, like,
Mhm.
underneath your boobs,
Mhm.
if they're really big boobs, what is
Mhm.
that term?
Yeast.
Yeast. You get yeast.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
it's
I used to get them underneath my boobs and my fupa.
Yeah, my fupa, I have that. That's
Bad.
the whole reason why
Yeah.
I'm getting that skin removal is because of that yeast problem. So I don't have that all the time. It's
Right.
very rare.
Right.
Um, I
Super
think
hot days.
super hot days, like I go on a big long hike and,
Yep.
things like that. But I understood exactly what she was meaning at that point. And you could hear her. She was crying. She was not letting me know she was crying, but she was crying and she was telling me this stuff. So this has hurt her to the core. And it's been something she dealt with her whole life. And
Which means she's been sensitive about it her entire life,
mhm.
and then he comes in, and that's the one thing he picks on.
Because if
Well,
he
not the
can
one thing, but
downgrade her, he's
yeah.
got her,
Yep.
right? So, and I just want to mention to the listeners out there, she is a beautiful woman.
Mhm.
She is a bigger lady, don't get me wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
We all come in different shapes and sizes. She's a very beautiful lady. I hope she finds her worth. I hope she really does because I don't think she's there yet. This is all fresh too. I'm just going to point that out too. She started thinking maybe he was trying to help her. Maybe there was something she wasn't seeing about herself.
Mhm.
Maybe the problem wasn't him. Her self-worth was already fragile. She had just left a religious environment that had impacted how she saw herself and how she spent years being compared to others, especially in terms of her weight. She already carried the belief that she wasn't enough, and his words fed directly into that.
So it wasn't hard to get her to question herself.
No, it
She was
wasn't.
already there.
People that are awful abusers, they know.
Oh, they've
They
got a radar.
know. Yeah. And they test that boundary of, you don't look like somebody who would give it up on the first night.
Mhm.
Boom, seeds planted.
Yep.
The next night, I'm going to say, okay, I want a threesome with your friend. You don't
You're
say
not
no.
enough. I need your friend too.
So even though she said no, she still does it.
Yep.
Boom. Okay. Now
Hooked.
he's already tested her twice and they've only went out twice.
Right. Holy cow.
That is some shit. And this is how quickly manipulators do this.
Yeah.
People don't even understand it because people are like, oh, everything happens so quickly. Like, they do that on purpose. They do this on purpose.
So you don't see it. If
Mhm.
they do it slowly and you pick up on it, then you stop it.
Yeah.
They've got to be smart and quick, and they
Mhm.
are.
They are very much. By the time the relationship hit around 4 months, the arguing became constant. It wasn't occasional disagreements. It was ongoing tension, back and forth conflict that never really resolved. Maya described herself as someone who speaks up, someone who doesn't stay quiet, and that became something that was used against her. And I can tell you from this because I kind of tried to paint the picture, but our whole phone call, those kids
Mhm.
wanted her attention. And she kept being like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I said, I'm a single mom too, honey. Like,
Yeah.
my kids are up my butt all the time. Do not apologize. We'll get through this interview. If you need to hang up and call me back, let's do that. Whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
It's fine. But she's even with her kids, I could tell that she's not one that holds her tongue.
Right.
Okay.
That's
So good for her on that. Around the 6-month mark, things escalated in a way that shifted how she saw everything. They were in the car, arguing again. Instead of the situation staying verbal, he turned it into something more extreme. He hurt himself in front of her, smashing his head with his vape, grabbing a knife, and acting like he might use it. And then he blamed her.
holy cow.
He told her she made him that angry, that she was the reason he had reached that point. That moment changed something in her. So, like he bashed his face, he's got the knife up to his neck,
Yeah.
like, you're doing this to me, da 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 da. Because instead of seeing his behavior as his responsibility, she started looking at herself as the cause. She began thinking that if she could just change how she reacted, it would stop the arguing. If she could manage his emotions better, maybe things wouldn't get that bad again.
So here come the eggshells.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to walking on eggshells,
Mhm.
watching herself instead of making him take the responsibility.
Exactly. That's how the shift happens. You stop asking why you're doing what you're doing and you start asking what you can do to prevent it. So, coercive control.
Mm-hmm.
The first time it turned physical wasn't a single isolated moment. It was part of a buildup that had been happening for months. They had been arguing all day about his behavior, about boundaries, about the way he interacted with other women. They moved from place to place, tension following them everywhere they went. At one point, Maya got out of the car and ran towards the highway. That's how intense the situation had become. Mhm. Later, while they were near a cemetery, he took her phone and tried to throw it away, trying to control her ability to communicate and leave. So he was holding her hostage, driving around in the car, arguing. Just let that sink in for a second,
That is the scariest moment a girl can be in.
right?
You have no way out.
Yeah.
You have the only thought in your head is there's nothing I can do because not only can they overpower me, but they've taken the only communication and I'm locked in here. There's no way out.
With a psychopath. But you're not thinking they're a psychopath. You just love them. She felt something shift in that moment, something in her body recognizing that things were escalating beyond what she could manage. She reacted by laying on the horn in the car,
So smart.
and that's when he hit her.
Was it smart?
A direct punch to her nose. He almost immediately denied it. That didn't happen. Yeah. He told her it didn't happen the way she experienced it, that it was just an accident, just a brush. But she knew what it was.
Yeah.
And still, they went back to his house after that. Because that's what the cycle does. It pulls you back into normal after something that was anything but normal. This is intermittent reinforcement. Basically, they had a fight. They fought all day, He went over the top and hit her.
Right.
Then he immediately confused her.
Immediately.
Then immediately started, it's okay, honey, I love you. Let's go back to my house. It's fine. I'm so sorry.
It was just a brush. I'm sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
So boom, 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 boom. She just went through all those emotions
Yep.
with her nervous system. And now everything's okay. I love you. Let's go back to the house. Everything's going to be fine. Right?
Yeah.
So that right there is intermittent reinforcement, DARVO. I mean, there's so many different things in just that, what happened right there. From there, the violence escalated. So he began restraining her, pinning her down. He put his knee on her neck at one point so she couldn't breathe. In these moments, she felt the pressure in her chest, the panic of not being able to get air, the fear of how this might actually be how it ends. So he loved to do that. He did that to her all the time. Thought it was funny. This is the way I'm gonna get you to listen to me. This is how I'm gonna control you. And he would tell her that.
Ugh.
That's the thing, is he had her so messed up and had her in his grasp that he could be like, this is how I get, if you would just listen, I wouldn't do this shit to you. Right? So at one point, he had his knee on the back of her neck, right? And he made the comment referencing George Floyd while doing it, showing a level of awareness about what he was doing that made it even more disturbing.
Yeah, he knew fully.
Oh, he's like, you're going to die the way George Floyd died, bitch.
Holy crap. That is like next level evil.
Like,
Recognize, because that tells you he recognizes what he's doing in the moment that he's doing it.
Mhm.
A lot of these abuse situations, they go 0 to 100 and their mind
They black out.
blacks out.
Like
and they
another thing
hurt
takes
somebody.
over them.
Right.
He's
fully aware and he's loving it.
Yes, he's loving to watch this, right? Maya truly believed in those moments she might die. That realization doesn't come lightly. It's not dramatic. It's your body recognizing that you are not safe. At her lowest point, she didn't just feel sad and overwhelmed. She felt completely alone. She was living in something that had no way out. And I do want to explain a little bit, okay? She has all the key factors a manipulator's going to look for, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a single mom.
Yeah.
Struggling.
Yep.
She has 2 boys. One of them has autism.
Mm-hmm.
She works a lot, okay?
Yep.
She has her body dysmorphia.
Yep.
Right? So, and not only that, she's had abusive relationships in the past. And that's another thing that they ask quite early.
Yeah.
They don't ask you about your past relationships because they give a shit about you. They ask you about your past relationships because they figure out if you're going to be a target by the way that you answer.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've realized. So I try really hard, like because I'm not even really dating anyways, but if I do, I refuse to talk about my past relationships.
Yep.
I will
There's no
not.
reason.
I will not. And I tell him directly, like after we've been seeing each other for a few months
Mhm.
and I've gotten past that where you can pretend
Yeah.
stage, then
Yeah.
me and you can sit down and have a conversation about
Yeah.
our past relationships, but we're not doing it now.
Which is so smart.
That's one of my
First of all
boundaries.
first of all, it's none of their business that early in the relationship.
Mm-mm.
Nobody's business.
Yeah,
Until it's a solidified thing and you're both in a good spot with each other, there should be no I mean, yes, there's gonna be those conversations, but deep conversations about past relationships, I just don't feel like it's their business.
exactly. And early on.
Yeah, early on.
Now you can ask how long you've been single for.
Yeah,
You can ask things along that line, but if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of the shit that has went on in my life and my past relationships, we're going to be together for a minute. Like
yeah,
we're going to be not together, but we're going to be dating for a while because I won't be exclusive with anybody until like, to be honest with you, I say 3 months, but it's probably going to be a lot longer for anybody to win me over
yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably going to take somebody like they're going to have to bring me gold every single day for
Said
me.
that I said that after my divorce, and then I met my husband, so that was cool.
Yeah, but your
Me and
husband's.
Chas were right away.
But that's another thing though.
But I was single for almost a year before that happened.
And I hate to even say this, but there are exceptions to the rule,
Mhm,
right? You do meet somebody, you do click with them, and it does work out.
mhm.
And but for me now with the stuff that I've been through, I'm gonna have to make sure I go slow
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Well, and to be honest, I say it happened quick because I fell in love really fast,
Hmm.
but he had no clue I was even in love until way later. What happened quick is when I finally let that fence down, it was, "'Kay, we're getting married." It wasn't, "Okay, we're gonna date." It was like, "'Kay, I'm gonna marry you."
Yeah, okay, you're mine.
That was what
I'm marking my territory.
'cause we did, it was he didn't know where he stood for the longest time.
Mhm. Okay, and then another thing I was gonna point out on the list of things, because I forgot to, and it was my whole point I was gonna make, is she doesn't have any family here. Her family's all out of state.
Okay.
So she's already was isolated with her one friend, then she now lost because
Yep.
he pushed the boundary. Now makes me wonder, did he push that because he knew that was her only friend?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
And she
kill.
had already said no, so he knew where
Mhm.
the outcome would come.
Yeah, so if I can get her to go and do this and push her boundaries, I know I can push her boundaries as well as I know I'm getting her closer to being isolated, right?
Yeah. And you may have already answered this, but where were the kids throughout all
I may have left that out in here, so that's a good point to bring up. She was stuck. She was stuck because I don't remember if he moved in with her or she moved in with him fairly quickly. It was quick.
Mm,
And
okay.
she was stuck
Yeah.
because she kept saying, I just have to make it to tax season.
Yeah.
And I just got to figure out how to get my money. I just got to figure out how to do this and that. And she just kept, because she was stuck with the kids
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
And so her kids were witnessing. She struggled to function at work. She was exhausted mentally and physically. She was afraid to go to sleep because she didn't know what she might wake up to.
Mhm.
And yet she stayed, not because she thought it was okay, but because she believed she needed time. Oh, here, see, this is going to answer your question. She told herself she would leave after tax season, that she had to just hold on a little longer, that she could manage it. She could manage it until she had the resources to get out. So I just want to point out, you're never stuck.
Yeah.
You're never trapped. Was it Taya? Yeah, it was Taya that said, I felt like I was so trapped with him, but I wasn't.
Yes.
So there's so many resources, especially just to point out, like in Ogden, you have YCC, okay?
Which is?
The women's shelter. So you have that, right? But there's also, you have the homeless shelter. They have
Mhm.
lots of programs for domestic violence too. Did you know that?
Yes, and actually, I know when it is a domestic violence situation, they fast track some of those housing options as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah. And even if you can't get fast tracked onto because I figured this out after we had this other thing, because I made a couple phone
I
calls.
wondered if it was you that I talked to
Mhm.
about that.
I talked to Nancy about it because
Oh,
you know how
okay.
she's a homeless advocate.
Yes.
And I also talked to one of my other friends that actually does a program. I didn't even know this. And she's one that we should probably have come, maybe just an episode of her to come in and talk about her stories and stuff
And
of things she's
resources.
seen, because she has a program and it's mostly for the homeless people to where they will go collect everything they need for a house. So they've got this apartment, they've got this place, they will go get everything they need couches, beds, dressers, cribs, clothes.
Okay.
What you need, I talked to both of them. There are programs. So
Mhm.
if you can't get on the state assistance program, you can get on programs with them. She also carried a lot of shame. This wasn't her first abusive relationship, and that weighed heavily on her. She felt like she should have known better, like she had failed somehow by ending up in the same type of situation again. That shame kept her quiet, kept her from asking for help, kept her from trying to manage something that was never hers to control. But eventually, something inside her shifted. It wasn't loud. It wasn't a single dramatic moment. It was a quiet, steady realization that she could not keep living like that. That voice didn't come from fear. It came from clarity. She didn't want to tell anybody what was going on because, she was ashamed by it. She was already isolated. She didn't have anybody she could really reach out to. She couldn't really go tell her family, though, look what I'm back in with them being a state away. But the thing that really got her was they got in this really bad argument one night. And he had thrown her down on the bed and he had jumped on top of her and he was just choking her out. And she was like on the verge of passing out and he'd let go. And he did that a few times. She heard her boy screaming in the other room. And she thought in her head, my children are going to watch me die. And she could hear them screaming and crying in the other room. And she thought, what am I doing? My children are going to watch me die.
That's enough to get any mom out.
Mhm. So here, I'm just going to go off the questions that I asked her really quick at the end of this because I said, did you believe no one would help you? And she said, I didn't know. But how do you tell people that you're back in a bad relationship again? And I 100% know that.
Yeah, and especially because as soon as you get out of a relationship like that, the first thing out of people's mouths, I know they're trying to be helpful, but the first thing is always, "Let's not do that again."
Hmm. Yep. And then everybody too, I think you feel embarrassed, you feel that shame, but you feel like people aren't going to keep dragging me out of these messes that I put myself in. And there
Yeah.
are people that are going to say, you've done this how many times, whatever.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to help you, but there are those people that love you unconditionally and will do whatever they can to make sure that you're safe and that you're happy, no matter how many times you put yourself in that stupid situation, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I asked her, when you thought you might die, what happened inside of you? And thank God you didn't, I pointed out. She said, there was like this voice of reason. There was like this clarity that came to her at that moment when he was done or whatever. The clarity basically was like, you need to get out of here. You
Yeah.
need to save yourself. She said it was like a light switch that flipped. Hear that a lot with abusive relationships is they put up what they put it and all of a sudden something flips.
Yep.
And I've told that to my friends that are still in it because I do have a couple friends that are still in abusive relationships and they come and talk to me about it and I'm, listen to them and I don't judge and I don't treat their partner differently because these are abusive relationships. They have to decide. They're mentally
Mm.
abusive. Like they don't physically harm them, but they're
Right.
mentally harming them. And like I even told my friend the other day when she was over, I said, you're not going to leave until you decide to leave and not look back.
Right.
Cause she asked me, she goes, why are you, she goes, you sit and listen to me and all of this. You're still nice to him. She's like, you're the only person that I know I can come and bare my soul to. And you
Yeah.
won't treat us different when we're together. She goes, and that it frightens me so bad. I don't talk to anybody about this because I don't want them to treat him different because we're still together. We still show up.
Yeah.
She goes, so I don't tell anybody about this. You're the only person I talk to about this. And I said, it's because I love you
Mhm.
and I love him because I know what he's been through to be able to be why he's the person that he is.
Right.
And not that it's okay that he treats you the way he does. It absolutely isn't.
Right.
But you guys both have some healing and some work you need to do. And, I do this because I do know that. I do know that feeling of not being able to talk to anybody because they're just gonna tell you, "You just gotta leave. You just gotta do this. You gotta do that." And
Exactly.
then not only that, then they're gonna treat this other person like shit, and then that puts you in even a harder, awkwarder spot because now you're trying to keep the peace for them. You're trying to keep the peace for your friend
Right.
when all you wanna do is come spend time, all of you together, and, like, I understand the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is this the correct way for me to handle it? Probably not. But
No, I think it is the correct way to handle it because she has somebody she knows she can talk to and it will never get back to him.
mhm.
So, yeah, I do think you're doing it right because Eventually, she may wisen up and decide that it's not the relationship she wants and she wants to leave, and you'll still be there.
Mhm.
Or she may not ever choose to leave, but you will always be there. She will always have somebody that she knows she can talk to when she needs to.
And that's what I told her. I said, no matter what you decide to do, I'm here. Like, no matter what you decide to do.
Yeah.
But I told her it's like that. I go from everybody from doing this podcast and talking to the interviews, everybody said it's just this.
Light switch.
So she said she got this clarity. And she said it was this voice even told her, like, you don't deserve this. You're strong. Like,
Mhm.
you can get past this. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Somebody spoke to her. She didn't really go into all the details about how she left or how she got out, and which is okay. She wasn't in fear. Because everything was so clear to her. Like, after that voice, everything, she wasn't in fear. She said it was almost like her nervous system went into this relief mode. And it was almost like it was showing her, like, this is how you should be feeling.
Mhm.
Like, you shouldn't have to be. And I do think it's divine intervention.
I also have to say when that switch flips, there's something inside women that turns from survival mode to get it done mode. And when a woman goes into get it done mode,
Mhm.
there's nothing that's going to there's nothing that's going to deter her from getting it done. It's almost like we know how to compartmentalize the fear.
Mhm. For sure.
We put it away and shut the cupboard.
And one thing I can say, and she talked about how she could hear her son screaming in the background and being upset. And me on being on the phone, all I heard from those kids was happiness and wanting their mother, right? Those kids sounded like they wanted their mom, they wanted her attention, but there was no sadness. So I asked her my question, what would you say to yourself if you could go back?
Yes, my favorite question. I think I say that every time.
When I asked her what she would say to herself if she could go back, and she said boundaries,
Mhm.
to keep your boundaries, that if you pay attention to the little whispers that don't sit right with you, and you just tell them no, right then and there, it will save you from a ton of hurt. One thing that thought was really cool is when I asked her, "Who is the woman you are now?" And she said, I'm the princess that slayed the dragon."
Ooh, I love that.
Right? I was like,
Nobody came in and saved her.
"No."
She stood up and she saved herself.
And her children.
Wow.
Mhm. And the princess that slayed the dragon. It's all pretty fresh, and she's still just beginning her healing. So that's really important, but she is working on her healing because, I had stopped the recording as I asked her, "What are you doing to heal yourself?"
Mhm.
Because it's really important, and I told her because you do meet the criteria to be manipulated again. So a manipulator outside looking in is going to target you every single time. What are you doing to protect yourself and protect your children from being targeted? Because a lot of times you hear women say, "Well, I'm just gonna stay single." That's not the answer.
No.
That's not the answer. The answer is go work on yourself and figure out why you're that person that keeps allowing this to happen to you.
Correct.
Because
The root of the problem.
she's worth all the gold in the world. And she wants to sit there and she wants to say, "Well, I'm a bigger girl. I have this, I have that." Like she has all these things stacked against her that she wants to point out. The whole time I was talking to her, physically, she never said anything nice about herself.
Hmm. There's one thing that I say to my kids every single morning because we need it, especially in the mornings. Fix your words.
Mhm.
If my kids start their day out talking about, I don't want this, I don't like this, the first thing I say to them is, fix your words.
Exactly.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you like. If you can fix your words, you can fix your mind.
Exactly. And that's something I try to tell Faye too. I sat down with her and I said, "Faye, you don't understand how powerful you are."
Mhm.
And she just kinda looked at me really weird, and I said, "You're probably not even gonna understand what I'm saying, but I'm gonna try to say it to you anyways." I said, "The blood that's rolling through your veins alone is powerful.
Mhm.
The ancestors and the divine protection you have is powerful." So I was telling her, "You can pull anything you want into your life by the way that you think.
Mhm.
So I said, you can have whatever life you want if you put it in your brain that this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it and this is where I'm going to get that. I wish somebody would have taught me this when I was young
Yeah.
because it's true. It is 100% true. I talked to her about saying nice words about herself, not to focus on the things that she doesn't like about herself, focus on the things that she loves about herself because all of us have things we don't like, right? Had this big long talk with her. And so she's been being better since then because I've been making her get in the mirror and stare at herself and I've been making her do that stuff. And I've seen a change in her a lot in the last little bit.
Yeah.
So
When I started doing morning affirmations with my kids on the way to school
mm,
is when my son's attitude completely changed.
mhm,
No more crying before school. Sometimes it's still rough. They're still kids,
mhm,
but it wasn't the atomic bomb fits that we were having.
mhm,
And actually, it was really funny because the other day we were doing morning affirmations in the car. We were doing morning affirmations in the car. And one of the affirmations that morning that came to me was abundance will come.
mhm.
And after we got done going through all of the affirmations, Dexter said to me, "What is abundance?" And I said, "Abundance is like good things will come your way, whether it's finance will come your way or a lot of spiritualness will come your way. But anything that comes our way is good and it's for our greater good."
Mhm.
And he was like, "Okay." Gets in my car after school and says, "Ma." I said, "What?" And he said, to this morning and morning affirmations, we talked about abundance coming our way. And when I got to school, one of my friends gave me 50 cents. He had all this money for the book fair and he had 50 cents left and he gave me his 50 cents. And I'm like, "Cool, buddy." And he's like, "That's not it." And I said, "Okay." And he says, "I was walking down the hall and there was $1 on the ground and I picked it up and my teacher said, 'Finders keepers.'" And
Right?
I have $1.50, mom. Abundance came my way. I
It's
said,
it's the
"Our
little things.
words hold power, Dexter. And if
Yeah.
you believe in your words, you will accomplish anything you put your mind to."
And it's a life changer. Once you
Oh,
actually truthfully believe that, it's a life changer. I can't tell you how much my life has changed since I have truthfully believed that. Knowing your worth is part of that
yeah.
because we're all worthy. There's not one person on this earth. There's not one person on this earth that's not worthy. But another thing I told Faye was if you live your life with love and you live your life with being thankful, because that's a problem she has.
Mhm.
She wants everything, and if she doesn't get it, she's upset about it,
Yep.
and I said, "You need to be thankful for what you have, Miss Faye." I said, "So we need to start at the end of the night listing all the things that we're thankful for." I said, "Because I am so thankful. There's all these goals and all these things that I wanna do, but at the end of the day, I am just so thankful
Yeah.
for everything that's in my life."
Yeah. And even when I have hard days and it's like, "Well, I didn't get this and I should have done that," I will sit down on the couch every night, whether I've had a good day or a terrible day, and go through all of the things in my head that I think are normal everyday things. I
Mhm.
should have this, normal people have this, and I remember that it's not normal. A lot of people do not have a home over their head. A lot of people don't have electricity. A
Especially
lot of
right
people
now.
don't have food in their fridges.
Mhm.
A lot of I tend to panic about money, but I always make it to the next paycheck.
Mhm.
There are people out there that are not making it to the next paycheck.
Mhm.
It might be pennies floating to the next one, but at least they're there.
Yep. That's my thing too is because 'cause I'm like, whenever I start to get worried about how I'm gonna pay this or how I'm gonna
Mhm.
pay that, and I start to get worried, I just, like, take a deep breath and, like, release the negativity, and then I sit there and I remind myself, God in the universe has always provided for me.
Mhm.
Like, even like I said, when I'm freaking out, like, I can't put food in my freaking fridge,
Yeah.
and here comes my brother filling it up,
Mhm.
or like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna pay this bill," and then all of a sudden something will come.
Yeah.
Remember when I was so upset? Like, I'm like, "I don't know how I'm gonna pay this lawyer.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm gonna do."
Yep.
And then something told me in my head what to do. And I would have came across that on my own if I believe in it. If I know it's going to happen and I believe it and I trust in the divine, it always happens. The woman who survived it isn't the same woman who entered it. She understands now that manipulation looks like, what control feels like, and what it means to lose yourself and slowly find your way back. And if she could go back, if she could sit with the version of herself that was in the middle of it, she wouldn't judge her. She would tell her the truth, that she wasn't too much, that she wasn't the problem, and that what she was experiencing was never love. Maya is the princess who slayed her own dragon.
I
Okay.
love that.
Right?
I love that. Now she just has to be a princess forever.
Right. Hour 8.
I do wanna say this, there's something about her heart that's beautiful, and I'm gonna preface this, I've not heard her voice. I don't know who she is. I wouldn't even be able to find her on Facebook, but I can tell you right now that I am getting just this, like, beauty inside of her
Mhm.
heart. Like, there is a gold ring completely encapsulating her heart.
Mhm. And here's the thing though, is because when I was talking to her too, with my abilities that I have, she doesn't even realize how powerful she is. She has no idea.
Mhm.
She's stuck in survival. She has no idea.
As soon as she finds her heart, she's going to I see, like I it's funny because at the peak of the abuse, when we were talking about it, I seen her heart, but I also seen this recovery portion where the light ends up, like, coming right out the top of her head,
Mhm.
and once that light comes out the top of her head, that is when she's just gonna have this whole new picture of life. But I
Well,
know it hasn't happened yet because
mhm.
it's all stuck here.
Well, one thing is she's a healer.
Mm.
That's why healers
The nurse.
attract the broken.
Yes, they do.
Healers attract the broken. And you have to realize who you have to, for me, I have to realize who.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
you see
Oh,
that
yeah.
I try to help people, then I
Oh, yeah.
overextend and I do all this and that. I have to be very set on my boundaries.
Mhm.
And I can't help people that are not gonna help themselves. Um,
Those are the ones that I like to pull in.
yep.
I like to pull in the ones that do not help themselves,
Mhm.
and they're immediately connected to my heart.
Mhm.
So then it makes that boundary even harder to set.
Exactly. And, I have a couple of those in my life right now. Once she realizes that she has that potential and that power, and I do think it'll come out of her, that's part of the reason why I was like, a lot of times I don't push so hard on the healing, but I
Yeah.
pushed it a little bit harder on her.
Yeah.
And I really think that she would benefit from like the spiritual community. But yeah, she definitely is a beautiful soul. She just doesn't know it.
Mhm.
She's and I think that on a whole nother standpoint, I think the demons that attach to these people, they know it, and that's a way to keep their
Mhm.
light down and keep their healing down is
Oh, yeah.
if they can get these demons to come and attach to us, people like that, and then consume us.
And even though he's gone, doesn't mean he took all his demons with him.
Mm-mm.
Most of them stay.
Yep, and she has to fight that battle. The scariest part about stories like Maya's is how close they come to ending differently. Strangulation is not a warning shot, it's a line. And once that line is crossed, the risk doesn't go down, it escalates significantly. But Maya made it out. And if you're listening to this and you're still in it, or you've experienced something like this, hear this clearly. What happened to you is serious, and you deserve safety, not survival. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is help available to you. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can text START to 88788, or you can chat with somebody at thehotline.org. You can also call RAIN, 1-800-656-HOPE. And if someone else needs to hear this, please share this episode with them. Don't forget the book that started all of this, Dance with the Devil, is available on Amazon. Do you have a story that you want to share? You can contact us at sunshinefaymedia@gmail.com. That is sunshinefaymedia@gmail.com. Because abuse thrives in silence, but healing thrives when we scream it from the mountaintops. Join us next week when we break down these tactics that were used on Maya to keep her stuck in this horrible cycle of abuse. This is an episode I don't think anybody should miss. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you soon.